I've always been hesitant to trust that FSD will be resolved, so I've tried to value Tesla more in relation to their other offerings rather than relying too heavily on it. However, it appears that the market has outpaced me and is now placing a significant value on FSD, especially in light of the most recent AI wave. Still, even with a PE ratio of 25 to 30, I'm happy with Tesla's valuation if they manage to reach approximately 5 million units annually, but even around 2026, which I think is more than achievable given the current factories have a capacity of more than half that. When Cybertruck is ramped up, Elon has stated FSD will also be ready. Though Elon has been stating this since 2016, his FSD timelines this year don't have as much credibility. Nevertheless, I'm beginning to feel a little more convinced at the moment. Perhaps this is because of the advancements in AI that are making these possibilities seem more plausible, or maybe it's because Elon is suddenly talking about FSD version 12 and the fact that it won't be beta. Are we supposed to assume that this means it's solved? If we knew for sure that FSD would be solved, even by 2030, say, and that robot taxis are feasible, then you could calculate how much you think FSD will be worth and discount it back to the present. 7 more years of FSD research, development, and data is a significant amount, especially when we consider how powerful microprocessors will be by then. In addition, the vehicles themselves will have more powerful hardware, such as high-definition cameras, and other specifications we may soon learn. But the fun doesn't end there. After that, hardware will come in the form of Hardware 5, and Tesla will continue to evolve and improve as technology inevitably advances. Perhaps even the rest of the hardware, which includes the computer itself and possibly the entire car. The robotaxi is the only name Elon has officially given to the new Gen 3 vehicle. It's likely compact, as it makes sense on many levels, given that, on average, over 80% of Uber trips are made by a single person. And if Tesla can manage to produce a smaller vehicle, they will be able to produce many more of them using smaller batteries, encouraging as many people as possible to join the robotaxi fleet. Elon's business strategy largely revolves around getting automobiles on the road. For example, he previously stated that Tesla would sell cars at a loss if needed to get the fleet as big as possible so that the company could profit from the software. This would also apply to as many of the Gen 3 compact or robot taxis as you can. There's a chance that FSD is actually solved this year, as Elon says, or perhaps early next year, and at the end of next year Mexico starts producing these river taxis that go into a fleet in certain areas. I know people are speculating about how much these cars will cost too, like a 25 to 30,000 compact, and especially with tax credits. But Elon has actually not officially said that these vehicles will even be for sale to the public. The closest thing we have to infer this is a 25000 Tesla announced on Battery Day, but Elon later said they were no longer working on, and instead concentrating on a robotaxi. Nevertheless, we have been told that these vehicles could cost around $17,000 for Tesla to produce. I believe this is a long shot because regulations play a role as well. Basically, what I'm saying is that we still don't know what Tesla's plans are, and despite numerous opportunities, no one ever asks why the compact car won't be available for public purchase. That being said, this vehicle sounds like it will be more designed around flexible suspension systems, FSDs, or rubber taxis than the previous models. Perhaps it will have cameras higher up to allow for better views, mechanical braking to stop faster, and of course be smaller and lighter than the others. With all of this, we would certainly hope that FSD would definitely be solved before 2030. Therefore, the question is whether it is possible to believe anything far earlier than 2030, perhaps 3 or 4 million years. Some even speculate about 2024, but 2026 might actually be a possibility. It doesn't really matter if the number is 24, 26, 28. If it takes so long, I believe that tremendous progress will be made and more people will come to understand that interventions may eventually become so rare and limited that solving the problem will only become unavoidable. The competition is the largest non-issue. While some people are already utilizing rubber taxis with LiDAR, it's not practical or scalable, it doesn't drive very well, and the longer trips bother other drivers. Since no one else is gathering data at the current level that tests are, competition is not a concern. So by the time Tesla solves FSD, it will already be a monopoly and any other auto OEM that wants to compete with FSD will have to license. Tesla has all the time they need to solve FSD because no one else is coming along. They have this enormous amount of data tests that they have acquired over the years, and it is growing exponentially. Then, all the engineers at Tesla have hired who specialize in this, and have been working on progressing the system for years and years now. Tesla Motors, considering the advancements made even in the last few years, it is possible that this new architecture will require additional training because we had to start over in some areas. Tesla is still gathering data on trading the system and is learning, so perhaps we can anticipate a step change of sorts in the near future. The real step change that many of us have been hoping to see. Remember, Tesla moved to a new system, removing radar and relying on vision and a neural net, similar to how humans drive with eyes and a brain dot, is when Dojo is incorporated into training the neural net and can add in continual simulations to learn driving behavior. We haven't heard much about Dojo lately and its use with FSD, so there's always hope there are some advancements in that area too. This might be why Elon thinks it truly can be solved this year, or perhaps next year. If we have Dojo online running in almost infinite amount of scenarios or edge cases, it will eventually become safer than a human. But that doesn't mean you may just want to go to sleep and trust it, although perhaps maybe some of you will, perhaps in the early days, though people will still stay alert, as well just using their phone, but still glancing up to check the car driving okay or giving the car their attention when it goes through particularly difficult spots. Eventually trust will be assured as the driver feels more comfortable, and as the car becomes safer. It may not be too long until it's twice as safe as a human then. With data like that, which Tesla will be able to clearly illustrate, what do the authorities do? It's their duty to protect the citizens here. We have hard evidence that you're twice as safe in a full self-driving car than driving yourself. Then surely they should pass regulation and allow them to self-drive along with river taxes too. As for investors, the closer we see this progressing and looking like it could actually be solved even in the next few years, the stock price will increase with the confidence along with other things Tesla do in the meantime, like a successful ramp of the Cybertruck will only further reinforce the confidence we have in Tesla's engineers even 10 years ago. The company's cash reserves have increased and its price-to-earnings ratio is at its lowest point, making this the ideal time for a buyback. He recommends repurchasing Tesla stock because when a business does this, it essentially creates another buyer in the market. In any case, Black suggested a buyback after 3 years. Black speculates that Tesla's board will decide to implement a $10 billion share buyback program. If you showed someone that there was an electric car company and that all of their cars could self-drive to the level of FSD beta that we have today, they would be astounded and would probably say, "Oh my God, I have to invest in this company." But many things have been moving too slowly and we're not quite there yet, getting overly pampered and complacent, failing to see how fantastic FSD is now, even though it's not quite as safe as a person. Tesla and Elon aren't giving up the stock because Tesla is the pioneer in FSD.